Hi, this is a material presented by the Canadian Bioinformatics Workshop. This lecture is presented under a Creative Commons license. You have the right to use and modify the materials at the condition that you indicate the source of the information and the changes that you made. We are starting the module 2 of this workshop, which is named Finding Overrepresented Pathways in GeneList. We are covering several concepts during the workshop, and a good part of the workshop is centered around pathway enrichment analysis and how to represent the enriched pathways as networks. This module is then covering the statistical methods behind these tools. We are presenting a few selected tools during the workshop, but there are many other ones available for enrichment analysis. We think that if you understand the concepts and the method behind the tools, you will be able to choose the right tool for your data in your project and to use the correct parameters. Most importantly, you will be able to correctly interpret the results. The lectures is followed by a practical lab using two tools, GSE and GProfiler. We are going to start the general workflow of enrichment analysis and some definitions. Here is the list of our learning objectives for this current module. The overall goal of this lecture is to understand the concept of overrepresentation analysis. We are going to learn how to differentiate a defined gene list and a ranked gene list because that will tell us which enrichment test to use. We will review the concepts of p-value and false discovery rate in the context of pathway enrichment analysis. At the end of this lecture, you should be able to interpret the results of the two enrichment tools that we are presenting. Here is a summary of the workflow of pathway enrichment analysis to illustrate the general concepts. We see three steps. The first step is the generation of the omics data, as well as the estimation of which data points, genes, proteins, or lipids are significantly different from the background noise in our experiment. And this step is best done by applying the most correct statistical test to the data. This step, if well done, will remove as much noise as possible in the data that we are going to use for the pathway and network analysis. Therefore, our tip here is to give a lot of attention to this step when you analyze your data. During the second step, this is where we use bioinformatic tools to interpret our data. To perform pathway enrichment analysis, we query our gene list of proteins against biological processes, which are what we call the pathway. But we also can use other sources of information stored in database like disease information or drug targets if this is important for our project. The third step consists of visualizing the results of the pathway enrichment analysis as networks. We represent the results as a network because this is easier to interpret. It helps us to elaborate new hypotheses. It's an opening to future directions in our project, and the next step is to validate these new hypotheses experimentally using drug or enzyme inhibitors that can block the pathway of interest. Here is how this module integrates with the full workshop. During Module 1, Gary Bader talked about the different gene lists that we can obtain from our omics experiments as well as the pathway databases. The analysis workflow starts with raw omics data that we align and we normalize, and the output of all the steps is a gene list that we would like to functionally interpret in an unbiased way. That's one element. The other element is the prior knowledge about the function of the genes that are collected and stored in different pathway databases. The format to store a pathway is called a gene set. A gene set is a group of genes that are functionally related. So we can take the cell cycle pathway as example, and let's say that there are about 500 genes known to be involved in this pathway. So the cell cycle gene set will be the name cell cycle, followed by the name of all genes involved in the cell cycle. These two elements, gene list and gene set, can connect or talk to each other only if we use the same gene identifiers here and there. For example, if our gene list is formatted using official gene symbol, we will use a pathway database formatted as gene symbol as well. So when we perform pathway enrichment analysis, we are looking for over-enrichment of some pathways in our gene list, and we are doing it to interpret our data in an unbiased way. During the other modules of the workshop, we will learn how to visualize this pathway enrichment result as a network to ease the interpretation of the data and to add different layers of information on the same network. Here is a quick look at the pathway database. We use here Reactome, and so this is a Reactome diagram of the DNA repair pathway. This diagram illustrates the chain of reactions that happens during DNA repair. Some scientists, called data curators, wanted to build this pathway diagram, so they read a lot of scientific papers about DNA repair. They wrote a summary of the different steps occurring in DNA repair. During the process, they collected all the names of all the genes involved in the pathway, and this is the list of genes that we are calling the DNA repair pathway or DNA repair gene set, and that we will use for our analysis. Here is a representation of pathway analysis because sometimes we think it's complicated, but it's just a way to organize a gene list into categories that are biological processes. Here is our gene list on the left. So we may have the genes in black that are part of the axon guidance pathway, the genes in green, part of the aging, the purple one, part of the stem cell development, and the genes in blue, part of the cell migration. Now we have organized the gene list into 4 simple categories. It simplifies our understanding of the results that we got, as we are going now to think about these 4 biological functions to interpret our data and generate new hypotheses instead of all genes in the list. We understand here that the need to summarize comes from the fact that our gene list is very large, that we got a lot of hits from our mixed experiment. If our gene list is very small, we may want to interpret it in different way. This slide illustrates the important concept of overlap that is used to calculate the enrichment score when we talk about overrepresentation analysis. So we have our gene list here, which consists of 41 genes, and in our list, 13 of these 41 genes overlap with the axon guidance pathway. The axon guidance pathway is coming from the gene ontology database and contains a total of 39 genes. So 13 out of these 39 genes overlap with our gene list. So it means that 1/4 of our genes overlap with the pathway, and it also represents about 1/4 of the pathway. In addition to the simple concept of overlap, we also can add a score associated with the genes when we calculate the pathway enrichment score. If our overlap contains a lot of genes with a high score, that would increase the enrichment score for the tested pathway. We can rank all genes in our experiment using this scoring system. For example, for RNA-seq, the score could correspond to differential gene expression value, and for ChIP-seq or ATAC-seq, it could correspond to the p-value associated with the peaks. We rank our genes from high score to low score. Another very important concept to take into consideration while doing enrichment analysis is the background. The background is sometimes called the universe, and it represents only the genes that could have been captured in my omics experiment. The genes that could not be measured or are not expressed in our cells are not part of the background and won't be counted. As an example, where I have to consider the background would be a custom chip or a nanostring array, for example, that covers only human genes. And the experimental background in this case will only be the genes that were placed on the nanostring. The background also is important in proteomics because in proteomics we cannot sometimes detect all the proteins in the cells. For RNA-seq or ChIP-seq or ATAC-seq, as it covers the whole genome, the experimental background could be considered as all genes in the genome, and we don't have to worry too much about the background. Maybe a more rigorous background could be restricted to only the genes that are expressed in our cell model, and in RNA-seq we are doing it by removing genes with very low counts or counts equal to 0. So what is the definition of overrepresentation analysis? We commonly say the pathway is enriched in a gene list. What does it mean? It means that there are several or many from this pathway in our gene list. And a more precise definition would be there are more genes from this pathway in our gene list than what we could have obtained by chance only. And this is what we are going to cover all along this lecture. So that's the end of part 1 for this module, and you have a few questions to answer in the quizzes.